Hello, I'm Ghost Hunter Joe, and you are watching my third set of stories associated with my haunted childhood home, pictured on the next slide. I lived in this house on Shepherd Drive in Rockledge, Florida from 1971 to 1973. I lived here with my mother, grandmother, brother, two sisters, several dogs, and my cat Peter. Shortly after we moved in, we each started experiencing strange occurrences. Our neighbors eventually informed us that the lady who lived there before us had committed suicide in the utility room after learning that her husband was cheating on her. My friend Sarah found this article reporting her death in the Orlando Sentinel, dated April 9, 1969. This is my mother and grandmother posing for a picture in the living room of our haunted house. This is the room where my sister Lisa witnessed a face start to manifest from a cloud of smoke discussed in my last video. They are sitting on a hide-a-bed couch which was purchased to accommodate our many relatives who would come down to visit us. My grandmother, on the right, was 61 years old in this picture. I remember thinking how old she was. Now that I'm 64 years old, I don't view 61 the same way. We brought 3 dogs with us from Ohio. This is the 4th dog, Louie, a purebred Doberman Pinscher we purchased as a puppy. He's in the dining room near where I was sitting when I saw the utility room door open, as discussed in my first video. They say that animals are more susceptible to the paranormal and supernatural, which brings me to my first story involving my mother and Louie in the living room. My mother had been laying on the couch watching TV and had fallen asleep. Louie was laying on the floor in front of the couch. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, Louis stood up in the middle of the room, looking upward, and started growling, with the hair on his back standing up. Though there was no one there, Louis clearly saw someone or something. Louis's growling woke my mother up, which was strange in itself, because my mother was deaf and could not have heard Louis's growling. It was also strange, because had someone been outside, for instance, Louis would have gone over to the windows or to the door. But he instead stood in the middle of the room growling and looking upwards. This is my cousin-in-law Lloyd, sitting in a rocking chair in our living room. He and my cousin Kim and their toddler daughter Julie had come to visit us and slept on the hide-a-bed in the living room. Around 2 o'clock in the morning one night, Lloyd was awakened by someone repeatedly slamming the living room screen door. Assuming that it was neighbor kids playing around, he quickly got up and went to the front door and opened it, only to find that the screen door was closed and locked. Lloyd told us all about his experience the next morning. So, was my childhood home in Rockledge, Florida haunted? My entire family came to this conclusion while we lived there from 1971 to 1973. And so did many of our relatives who visited us during that time period. And this is Ghost Hunter Joe saying goodbye and see you next time.